Final score 41-28. Bulldogs get the win. They go to 3-3 on the year. State was in control of this game. They led 17-0 with 4 minutes left in the second quarter. They gave up a late touchdown that made it a 10-point game at the half. State scored first in the third quarter when Mike Wright took it in from 3 yards out to make it 24-7. And then we kind of started the seesaw a little bit. Touchdown from Western Michigan after a 10-play, 75-yard drive to make it a 10-point game. Touchdown from Mississippi State to push it back to 17. Touchdown from Western Michigan, back to 10. Touchdown Mississippi State, back to 17. Touchdown Western Michigan, back to a 10-point game. And then Mississippi State kicks a field goal with 4 minutes left, effectively ending any drama that was remaining. So that was kind of the way that it unfolded, but I think we got to go inside that. Hey, Dad, you had the Thunder and Lightning podcast where you talked about the things that are true. You were mostly pleased with the offense on Saturday.
Yeah.
Why was that?
I thought they were relatively efficient. I thought that they did a good job of finally introducing Mike Wright into the offense and giving him some actual real live series, and I thought he was good. Should have had a touchdown pass that Jaden Wally dropped. He ran for a touchdown. He showed you what he can do. But I thought Will was good, too. I thought Will Rogers played well. Had 3 touchdown passes in the game. Didn't throw an interception. Was good. State ran the ball pretty effectively considering that Marks played in the first half but then came out with an injury. Jeff Pittman didn't play at all, but you saw some of Kevon leave for the first time. I just thought overall offensively they put 41 points on the board and had a drive where they dropped a touchdown / missed a field goal, so they could have had more points on the board. There wasn't a lot for me to complain about offensively in this game.
State goes 65 plays for 440 yards of total offense, did not allow a sack in the game, had the 3 touchdown passes that you referenced, ran it for 194 yards. So, the offensive numbers were fine. What about the level of concern on the defensive side? So we kind of went through the scoring summary a second ago. And State really was in control for most of the first half of this game. But in the second half, they could not keep Western Michigan off the board. They just couldn't.
I mean,
State outscored Western Michigan
another
24-21 in the second half.
Yeah, it's just another example of a quarterback, and this is a third-string MAC quarterback having a career day against Mississippi State. Hayden Wolf, 27 of 35, 262 yards, 3 touchdowns. He throws the pick at the end there, but completes 77% of his passes. I mean, look at State's last 4 games against quarterbacks. If I'm correct, in 4 games, they forced less than 20 incompletions.
And it's like a combined completion percentage of just
well
over
80%. Yeah, it probably is. I mean, Daniels was 30 of 34. Rattler was 18 of 20. I think Milroe was only 10 of 12, but 10 of 12. And then, like I said, 27 of 35, so 77%. And this is, like I said, this is a third-string MAC team. State could not bring any pressure. Every time they blitzed, Western Michigan picked it up. And then they consistently had guys. When I say open, I mean open. I mean, guys, nobody within 2-3 yards of the receiver wide open. Just breakdowns at every level defensively. And they're just not a good defense. They've whatever edge they had a season ago, whatever they had going for them under Zach Arnett, they have completely squandered that under Matt Brock. Obviously, there's some personnel issues when you lose a first rounder, when you lose a guy like Tyrus Weed, who was a really good player and a difference maker for you in the pass rush. Cam Young was a really good defensive tackle last year. He was an NFL draft choice, but they're not. I understand struggling against SEC teams. When you struggle like that against a MAC team, that's a bad sign for Mississippi State.
And it's a MAC team that fell to 2-4 on the year. With that loss, they not a not a MAC team that came in 4-1.
Right. This isn't, Northern Illinois a few years back when they went to the Orange Bowl. This is a bad team. And they went toe-to-toe with you from the second quarter on, basically.
Western Michigan's winner against St. Francis of Pennsylvania and Ball State. They lost by 41 to Syracuse, by 31 to Iowa, by 18 to Toledo, and now they lose by 13 to Mississippi State. And again, that's not like trying to take anything away from the win. It's just, okay, what's going on defensively? And kind of the summary is not much.
Yeah. Yeah, that's being kind. That's being
what
generous.
About health? Will Rogers leaves the game. You talked about Woody Marks, some guys on the defensive side. They've announced a couple that are out for the year. Where is this team health-wise?
So with Rogers, obviously, yes. I was surprised Marks played as much as he did. Pittman didn't play. I thought Marks might get the day off as well, to be totally honest with you, but they did play him. Rogers left the game with I think it was a non-throwing shoulder injury, but saw him after the game, not in a cast, not wrapped up with ice all over him or anything like that. So I feel like that's a good sign. With no press conference today being an off week, there's no chance for Zach Arnett to tell us they'll evaluate him and not give us an idea of what the actual injury is. But that'll probably come on Monday of this week, or probably maybe Wednesday, actually, I think about it, with the SEC coaches teleconference. Arnett will be on there regardless of the off week. And then we'll just have to see. If Rogers is out for an extended period of time, this becomes Mike Wright's football team. If he's not, I expect Rogers to continue to start and for them to use Wright more like what we saw on Saturday.
What else stood out? Or is this one of those where it's like, you're really grasping at straws?
No, the way the game went is a red alert, is a red flag for the rest of the season, right? If you came into that game thinking, okay, State will blow this team out, and then they can recoup on the off week and have a chance when they go to Arkansas, go to Auburn, things like that, it's difficult to look at the team now and say that. Do I think they are just going to lose to Arkansas? No. I think that they can win that game. But would I predict them right now? No, probably not. I mean, KJ Jefferson is a good quarterback. Could easily see him being something like 27 of 30 for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns next week. If State wins next week, they'll win in a shootout. Just because I don't think State's defense can slow anybody down.
You just randomly predict a line for a starting quarterback. You're like 27 of 30 for 350 and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good day.
That's a good day at the park. Should be enough to win.
Resort Studio Dwayne and Brandon says State's defenses don't improve. They're going if State's defense doesn't improve, they're going to be upside down in wins and losses. I think that's what the message was.
It's accurate.
Just my opinion, but I thought the third-string Western Michigan quarterback was better than the second-string. I think he was an Old Dominion transfer. Yeah, he was. Hayden
Correct.
Wolf, big kid, came in from Old Dominion. I didn't play him early because I just didn't think he had a good enough grasp of what they were doing offensively. Jack Salopek started the season as their quarterback for Western Michigan, and Wolf was kind of either the backup or the third-string guy.
Doesn't that further exacerbate the issue?
Correct.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, that wasn't even the best that Western Michigan had to offer, at least according to them.
It's a huge issue right now.
And then you're seeing this LSU team,
too. Sometimes quarterbacks overthink that.
True. That does happen.
Coaches that do.
That does, but it's Western Michigan. And then you're seeing LSU get lit up by everybody they play. And at home, you were non-competitive on that side of the ball, too.
C-Spire text line, we will not beat 2 SEC schools, therefore we won't make a bowl, and Arnett will be shown the door.
But shoulda, coulda, woulda, of course. Should have beaten South Carolina, at least had a chance to. Is South Carolina any worse than Arkansas? Are they any worse than Arkansas?
Might be better.
I mean,
They might be better.
who knows what kind of state Arkansas is going to be in, by the way. I know the game's in Fayetteville, and that's not easy, but, buddy, they're about to lose to Alabama, too. I mean, is the locker room still engaged after 5 consecutive losses?
Does it feel like we're asking that question more than we used to ask that question? Like, you see a team lose 3 in a row, you're like, oh, are they still going to care? Are they going to quit? Are they going to keep playing hard? Hey, Dad, aren't you famous for saying that's the
That's the minimum.
That's the absolute
the least
minimum
I can expect. Yeah, I think Arkansas. I mean, they're going to lose this weekend, and they're going to be in a bad state. But they're going to look at Mississippi State and say, "Guys, this is a chance to get back on the winning side of things. It's a chance to feel good again when they see Mississippi State."
I mean, I know Hugh Freeze and stuff. I get it. Auburn doesn't have a roster that should scare you at all. Hugh Freeze's answer,
yeah, but they're playing hard.
Oh, they sure are. Yeah, they sure are. His answer about quarterback play today was really telling. If you read between the lines, he knows he's awful there. He's awful there, and he knows it. So, I mean, that's not a game that you look at and think, "Oh, losing to Auburn for sure." No. And you do have Southern, with all due respect, sorry, Southern Miss fans, you got a really bad Southern Miss team on your schedule too. I mean, it's not.
Mm-hmm. All right, so roadie at Arkansas, roadie at Auburn, Kentucky at home, at A&M.
And Kentucky's good. They just got walloped this weekend. I mean, just walloped.
And Kentucky can't win on the road. Mark Stoops cannot win on the road. He just can't. It's his kryptonite.
Neither team in the series between Kentucky and Mississippi State for a really long time has been able to win on the road.
14 was the last time there was a road win. State won at Kentucky.
Will that change this year? We'll have to wait and see. Then Southern Miss and Ole Miss to close it out. This thing can go, I mean, it can go status quo, it can go well, or it can go poorly for Mississippi State. Because there's no question the second half of the schedule should be easier than the first half of the schedule, I think.
The location of Arkansas and Auburn stinks for State. That sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, South Carolina and Arkansas are kind of on the same level. South Carolina, I think, is better than Auburn. Kentucky is better than South Carolina, better than Arizona. A&M is not quite as good as LSU or Alabama, but a step above those others. So Miss has struggled, and Ole Miss is kind of in that conversation for the third or fourth best team in the league right now. Will they sustain that? We'll have to see. I don't know. Maybe it's not a drastically different. But 3 of the final 6 in league play are on the road. And the home games are Kentucky and Ole Miss.
When you're playing as poorly as State is, every game is difficult. Doesn't matter if you're playing Alabama or Alabama A&M.
Yeah.
I mean, when you aren't playing well, when you can't stop anybody on defense, no matter who you're playing, then there is no reprieve from that.
How does this go over the final 6 weeks after the open date?
As you kind of said, and we'll know a lot. These next 2 games, 1-1 is okay. You're okay at 1-1 because if you win one of those games, you'll feel like they could get Kentucky or they could go to A&M, and if A&M's quit by then, it's going back to what Borky was saying. And even you could make the weakest case, but you could say it's the Egg Bowl and something crazy might happen. But if they're 0-2, the season's over because you're not going to a bowl game and it's just playing out the string. You're probably going 4-8. 2-0 is kind of the way State plays defense. I can't bring myself to sit there and be honest with you and say I think they can go 2-0, but I think they can get one of them. I don't know which one it is. I think it's probably Arkansas, but they got to get one of these next 2 games. And if they do that, then you can have enough hope to at least sitting around to possibly make yourself think you can continue your bowl streak, get to 6 wins. I don't know what that means long term. I look at Matt Brock and one of the other guys on the beat, Stefan Krajnik, made a good point. He's like, 2 years ago we were all saying Matt Brock needed to be fired as the special teams coordinator The State's special teams were miserable. They replaced him. They put him the linebackers coach. They moved Eric Melee over to special teams, and now State has some of the best special teams in the country. Kicking's good, punting's good, the return guys are elite. So I made the comment on the show yesterday on the podcast. I said maybe he should coordinate the offense. Let's just see if he's good at that, because he can't do defense and he can't do special teams. I think Matt Brock's I think he's going to be sacrificed at the end of the year, whether Arnett's here or not. So, but 6 wins allows Arnett to say, okay, we'll make a couple of changes. We'll hit the portal really hard. They're going to have to do that with everything they lose, and sort of take it from there. But I don't know. I just know that right now Mississippi State fans are not happy campers.
Should he take play calling duties back? I mean, I know that doesn't work for everybody, but what is, and this is an impossible question to answer, but what is Mississippi State gaining by having him not calling plays? What are they benefiting from in that case? Well,
the only thing that I would say is this, and I made this comment, is that when State gets a commitment and they tweet that GIF of Arnett and he's going absolutely nuts on the sidelines, where's that guy? Where is he? If you look at Arnett now, he's just standing there, arms folded, and just kind of watching the game, when he's not talking to Brad Peterson or Steve Campbell. And it's like, where is that guy? I made a comment about it, when we were interviewing him. I was like, this is a different guy than the defensive coordinator. The defensive coordinator was a grouchy, gripey, angry guy, in a good way. This guy is it feels like sometimes he's just up there giving coach speak answers like you and I would give coach speak answers. We're not actual coaches, so we're just sort of like the chat GPT. I'll get there eventually. Of coach speak. Like if I said, hey, chat GPT, give me a coach speak answer on this, that's what Zach Arnett is doing right now. And so you ask him, bringing him back to the defense. Well, if he's not going to coach with that same kind of anger and attitude, I don't see what the point of that is. Zach Arnett needs to be himself. He's not being himself right now. He's trying to be what he thinks a head coach should be. Just be yourself. The fans will appreciate that a lot more than you just standing around on the sidelines looking like you're disinterested.
Yeah. But if you're not winning, I don't know if fans – I mean, if you're not winning and you're standing there looking like a bump on the log, then people want you to be more animated. If you're not winning and you're going crazy all the time, people want you to find a little bit of composure and, make it look like you actually have an idea of what it's supposed to
I just want him to be himself. I know what Zach Arnett is. I saw it for 3 years. You got to continue to be that guy. That's what got you to be the head coach.
Right.
You got to continue to be yourself. You should not try to be something you're not in any situation. Life advice from Uncle Haydad there.
That's nice of you. Sports Talk.